In this short video, we're going to talk about the determinants of demand and just introduce the various determinants so that they can be looked at separately in separate videos in this series. So for a start, we're going to look at what determines the quantity of the good demanded per unit of time. It's a flow concept. Demand is a flow concept. It means the amount we demand per unit of time. If I were to say to you that my demand for petrol was 50 litres, is it 50 litres a day, 50 litres a week, 50 litres a month, 50 litres a year? It makes a lot of difference. So we must specify a time period, and that's where the T, this small t, comes in. It's the quantity demanded per unit of time. Now what we say is that depends on, and we write depends on in this way. This notation here you'll recognize from mathematics. It's integration in calculus, but we're not going to use it in that terms. We're just simply going to use it as shorthand. We're going to say the quantity demanded per unit of time depends on, and that's what this means, depends on. And that's how you read it. So it depends on what? It depends on the price per unit, or the quantity demanded per unit of time. The quantity demanded depends on the price per unit. We have to specify a unit here because if I said to you petrol was £1, it doesn't make any sense. Is it £1 a barrel? £1 a litre? Makes a big difference again. So we must specify a unit. So the quantity demanded per unit of time depends on the price per unit. It also depends on the price of alternative goods, PZ. So the price of petrol, or sorry, the quantity of petrol I should say, demanded will depend on the price of diesel. If the price of diesel falls incredibly cheaply, becomes incredibly cheap, then perhaps more people will buy diesel cars, less people will buy petrol cars, and the quantity of petrol will fall. The quantity of petrol demanded will fall. So the demand per unit of time depends on the price per unit and the price of some related good. It also depends on income. And we write income in economics as a Y. That's just terminology. That's just history. It's just the way we do things. Whenever you see Y in economics, it means income. Simple. The quantity demanded per unit of time will also depend on tastes, T. Well, if an item becomes fashionable or desirable because it's trendy, then the quantity demanded may increase, even though the prices remain the same. So clearly, the marketing industry and its influence on our tastes and fashions and so on influences the quantity of goods demanded. Next, it would depend on the population. A very big country will have a bigger demand than a small country. There are more people. That should be straightforward. Depends on the distribution of income. If in a country there are only a few very rich people and everybody else is very, very poor, then the quantity demanded for some goods may not be very high. Even though the population is high, the quantity demanded for some goods, perhaps some luxury goods, may be quite small. Only the very rich are buying those goods. So the distribution of income is important. It's not just the absolute level of income, it's the way the income is spread out, the way it's spread out between the people who live in the country. Some countries have got very equal, or not precisely equal, but very egalitarian distribution of income patterns. Other countries are highly skewed. Some very rich people and the majority very, very poor. The quantity demanded per unit of time also depends on the seasons. Clearly, there will be a bigger demand for Christmas lights at Christmas time. There will be a bigger demand for energy, electricity and gas in the winter than in the summer, and so on. So seasonal factors also play an influence in the quantity demanded. The government may also play a part. The government may try to dissuade us not to consume certain items. For example, cigarettes. It might tell the population that it's bad. It'll give you cancer and you die, etc. if you smoke. It's up to the individual if they want to die that way, but the government can point out that this item is dangerous and it's going to lead to something bad in your life. So the government can influence the quantity of certain goods that are demanded. It may promote certain goods, vegetables and fruit and healthy living and so on. Then you doesn't stand for anything in particular. It just means we're making a long list here of the determinants of demand and we might have forgotten something, so you is it. You is a portmanteau term. It picks up anything we've forgotten. It could be that the weather is important in determining demand. It could be the temperature. The outside temperature is important in determining demand for certain items. But rather than just carrying on trying to dream up everything, we just put in you and say, okay, that's enough. Now, output depends on many variables, as you can see. We need to simplify this, and we do this with the Latin expression ceteris paribus, or ceteris paribus as some people say. The ceteris paribus assumption means everything else being held constant. So what we'd say is, let's say the price per unit determines the quantity demanded per unit of time, ceteris paribus, i.e. everything else being constant. So that introduces us to the type of determinants for market demand, and later on in this series each one of these will be dealt with in a separate small video. In the meantime, thanks for